Hi and welcome to this episode of Clickteam Fusion tutorial. So today we're going to be looking at starting to create a level editor so we don't have to be doing it just with numbers. Enjoy! Hi, I'm Chris Gilpin, welcome to this episode. So at the moment what we've got is a system where we have to work with numbers. So if I open up our array editor, and it doesn't matter which one you choose to use, we've got to make sure it's set to number, and let's open up what we've got at the moment. So this is our level 1, and it's just a whole load of 1s and 0s. So 0 was land and 1 was sea. Now I can kind of see where that map is, but if you imagine we have tens, hundreds, thousands of different tiles, I'm not going to remember what each of these numbers are. So what's really important is we start to think about creating a level editor within Clickteam Fusion. So what I want to do is create it so that the map comes up and then I can obviously edit it. I think most of you understand that. That's what a level editor is. But I want to do it within the application itself, and I'll explain why later on. But it's really important to do it within the application. Okay, so what I want to do is go to my application. This is the one I made last episode. So if I run it now, you can see we've got that really nice scrolling effect at any resolution, which is great. And as we saw last time, if you get to the bottom, it takes you sort of to the next level, but you sort of are up here. Now, I will deal with that in later episodes, because what I want to do is create a next level first and then sort that issue out. What I want to do is create a new level. So I won't do the level editor within the level we've just created, otherwise it will just get really complicated. So I'm just going to click on more, double click on the 2. I don't know if you right click on the more, I don't know, that more doesn't work. There's probably a way of doing it with more. I'd always click just the number. Just assume that more always worked, but it didn't. So just click on the number 3. I think you can right click and maybe you can't. Right? If you can right click on the 2 as well. I'm going to press Ctrl and Z to undo that, because I don't want another one. Or I'm just going to click on it and press delete. Yes, I want to delete that. Okay, see, I'm learning as well. Right, I'm going to title this so I know this is the level editor. So I'm just going to click on that, just type in level editor. So that when maybe I've got other frames later on, I can sort of organise them. You might see there's a password here. So what it allows you to do is give this over to someone else. But if you don't want them to play around with the level editor in the MFA file, you can put a password on it, I think, and then I've never used that feature, and then they can't access it. I'd imagine that's what it is. Although I'm pretty sure they can just change the password if they had the MFA file, but anyway. And you can do custom frame sizes for each one, but you can do that within this screen here as well. So if I double click on the new level, there's nothing in it at all. It's a very boring level. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want it to have quite a few of the same features as the first level. Now what I could do is do all of the hard work again, or I can just go back to the first frame, and your workspace toolbar might be at the top. I've put mine at the bottom, and double click on frame 1. Now I'll probably want it to have the window control, so I'm going to press Ctrl and C. I'm going to go to the level editor, and I'm just going to press Ctrl and V. Now you could do this with edit, copy, and then edit, paste. Just press Ctrl and V. Now what it will do is it'll have a little crosshair. Now that shows you, yes, it has pasted it, but you need to decide where you want it to be pasted. So I'm just going to click there. That's fine. Remember, this is invisible anyway, so it doesn't matter where this is, but I might want to use stuff in the frame, so I don't want it in the frame. Normally put it on the left hand side. Okay, so I know I need that one. Now I'll need the tile, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a rubbish level editor. Now we haven't talked about this before, but I want this exact same tile, and I want every time I update this tile for it to filter through to my level editor. Now I can make it so that it is global. I click on global and same name, same type. Okay, normally that's what you want. Okay. Now that means it's global. So when I copy and paste it now, and so I've clicked on it and pressed Ctrl and Z. You could have done it through Edit. And if I go to Level Editor, Ctrl and V, I get my crosshairs, or I should get my crosshairs again. There we go. You got to click on the actual screen itself. If I click, brilliant. Now the reason I said I'd come back to it. The reason that we want the level editor within our application, not in a separate application, is exactly what I've just said. That we want, if we add a new tile, we want the level editor to also have that new tile. It'd be really annoying to have to add a new tile to our level and then go to the level editor and then add the new tile again. So this means that we just change one object and it will filter through. So let's test that. So let's have a look at that object at the moment. So we've got the two things, right? Let's go to our frame. So say if we want a third one, I'm not going to use this one, I'll delete it afterwards. Say if we wanted a third one, and let's just make it yellow, because we probably will want sand later on. And if I go to my level editor, so this is a different frame now, if I double click on that, you can see that it's there. Okay, and which is incredibly powerful, which means we only need to change it once. And I said I'd delete it, let's delete it there, and let's check it's updated in the frame. And it has, it's gone now. Okay, and so there we are, we've got our tile. Let's have a look at the frame and see if there's anything else we need. We'll probably need the arrays. So let's press Ctrl and C, Ctrl and V. And you might say, well, do you not need to make those, make the other three global as well? Well, these are like function machines. That is just blank, and then we load all the stuff up behind the scenes for the arrays. And the window control just is a bunch of functions. You can't change the window control at all. There's nothing I can change to it, obviously, apart from its position, which doesn't matter anyway because it's invisible. This we can actually change the actual object itself, which is why that needs to be global. Okay, so we've done that. And what I want to do now, so we don't need the character. The character is the only thing we don't need. Now I need it so that it does all the functions we've had before. So if I go to the event editor, and what I'm going to do is click on one, scroll all the way down, and then click on the last one whilst holding shift. I should say that because you'll probably click on the last one and it's like, hang on, that hasn't highlighted everything. I think there is a select all. Let's have a look. Edit. Is there a select all? No, there's not a select all. So you have to do it. So click on one, click on the last one whilst holding down shift, and it highlights all of them. Then if you press Ctrl and C, again you can go to edit and press copy, and that works just as well. Now I want some way to go into the event editor for the level editor. Okay, oh gosh, that's too much editors. Okay, if I double click on that, then it always brings me to the frame editor. Okay, so let's try it again. So I want to go to the next frame's event editor. How easy is that? So you can use these to just cycle between the event editors. If I click on that one and press Ctrl and V or edit paste, then it copies in all of the stuff from the one before, all of the stuff from frame one. But we have a problem here. This one hasn't loaded, and we know it hasn't loaded because there's a little symbol there going, what the heck is that? Okay. We don't have an active in our level editor because there's no point of having a player because we don't need the player. So what I want to do is just delete all of the things that revolve around the player because I don't need the player there. So if I delete that one, always bring to front, we don't need that one. Now this one is purely about the player, so we want to delete all of that, don't need that. That's responsiveness, so that we do need. We don't really need any of the movement stuff. So we can delete that, maybe. Yeah, we can delete that. And let's run our frame now. And this is me getting nervous now. No, we don't want to run application. Application will always start on the first frame because it assumes that the first frame is the first level. So it wants that first. So you click on frame, run frame, and you can see here there's absolutely nothing there, which is worrying. Okay, so let's have a look and see why. So create that loop index, that's fine. Has it loaded those? Fine, should have done. Let's have a look. Start a frame, create tile Y, create tile X, create that, set that. This is when I start to get nervous. Always center display, right, so we want to delete that. Is there anything else that revolves around that active? So if I click on it, it shows me all the events that revolve around that active, and there isn't any. So I can, I don't want to, do I want to hide it? I want to get rid of it, so I can hide it. I don't really want anything there. Okay, so we've got a hidden object field there. Oh, that's quite annoying because there's nothing. I don't think there's anything here that references that. So let's run it now. Run frame, don't forget. There's still nothing there, still nothing loading. So I'm starting to think to myself, right, has it loaded that? Which it has done. And has it got that path? Yeah, it should do. Has it got that? Yes. Has it got that? Yeah, it's got both of those. Let's create that. X offset is 0 width of that. Yeah, yeah. All of that's fine. All of that's fine. So let's have a look. So let's go back. No, all that's fine. Let's check it's loaded. Yeah, all of those look fine. What is happening? Create that. Create that. So let's run the frame and let's have a deeper look into this. So I want to see. Yeah, that's all fine. Is it because the frame's not big enough? 640 by 480. It's the virtual width and virtual height that might be causing the problem. So let's make sure that that's the same. So I want to click on this. I want to press Ctrl and C for that. Let's copy that. Let's paste it in there. Why is that not pasting? Maybe it can't paste. 3281. 3281. 2961. 2961. And the background color we wanted black. Run application, there we go. It works fine. Run application, run run frame. That doesn't work fine. Okay, so it's down there. It's because we've got the offset, that's why. Okay, so we don't want the offset anymore. So we want to edit that. We want to get rid of that offset. It's always an explanation, always. Because what it did on our level frame 1 is that yes, it had that massive offset and then it centered it at the player. But this one wasn't centering it at the player, it was just loading it up, showing us that blank top left. So this makes more sense. I'm liking this. So run frame and it looks perfect. Now the problem is with this is there's no way of scrolling. Okay, so if I press up, down, left, right, I can't see the rest of the map. So there's a bit of the map maybe obscured at the bottom. So the way I'm going to deal with that is quite bizarre. I'll right click this, and now I'm going to show you a different way, and I'm going to show you why I'm not going to do it this way. What I want to do is run application, let's run frame, and I keep doing that. So what I need to do is somehow get this working without me having to scroll around it, because I really don't want to have to program scrolling. And also scrolling's nicest when you are dragging it across, and yet I want to be able to click on each one and assign it land, sea, tiles, whatever. Easiest way I can see of doing this is just making the tiles smaller and allowing it to all fit on the screen, so that I can have toolbars for the different land, sea, sand, whatever options, okay? So, sorry about my voice, by the way. So one way I could do that is if I could go into the frame editor, I could just reduce the size of this. So I could just reduce this to 16 by 16 or 32 by 32. Try and keep it in the same ratio, so halve it or quarter it, because it allows the pixels, it allows you just to lose 1 in every 2 pixels or 3 in every 4 pixels. So it keeps it less blurry and less anti-aliased or whatever. So I would reduce it by half or a quarter. But if I do that, then that will affect the frame 1 one. So I don't want to change this one at all. Okay, so what I want to do is somehow reduce it in size, but keep the active 2 the same. Keep it exactly the same. Now, let's see if I can do this. I want to scale, and I want to set scale. Now, I never remember which way around this goes. So 1 is the normal dimension. So if I do 0.5, so I reduce it if it's half of its size, and I want it maximum quality. Okay, maximum speed just means it will remove blindly 1 in every 2 pixels. Maximum quality means it will be a bit more sensible over what shade to pick. It will pick the average shade between the two. Okay, let's double click on that. Now I want that to happen first. Okay, and don't forget we'll need to change some other bits here. So this won't work perfectly. Let's just see if it works partially. Ah, I said it wouldn't work perfectly, and I've completely forgotten that my programming already dealt with that. Now, you might think, well, hang on, how does it know where to put the other tiles like I did? Okay, the reason for that is because instead of saying, oh, when you create that tile, create it 64 below it, I was clever and I was thinking ahead, and I said, instead of create it 64 below it for the next tile, created the width of that tile, the height of that tile, because it's a square, it doesn't matter whether you pick a width or height. So it's automatically calculated the width, and that's why I've put it first, so that it sets a scale and then it calculates where to put it. Very clever. Unintentionally clever, maybe. So that's it. And that will allow us to have a nice toolbar here at the bottom to pick different tiles and all of that goodness. So we've got the basis of a level editor now, and then what I'm worried about a little bit is I want this level editor to always sit there, but every time I give away the game, like in an exe file or online or whatever I choose to do on iOS or Android or all the other options Clickteam uses, I don't really want them to have the level editor at all. Now there's no way of them getting to the level editor, so it's safe, it's kind of protected-ish, but I don't want them to have it at all. So Clickteam Fusion didn't used to deal with this, but they've introduced a new box for us to tick to say, oh, we want this in our MFA file, but we don't want this in our game. This is just for us. And that box is situated, if you click on level editor, it's situated here at the top. Don't include at build time. So when you build this as an application, do not include this frame. Okay, let's save this. There we go. And then that's it. So we are nowhere near building a level editor yet, as you know, and you can probably see from the title of this video is part 1, because I knew I wouldn't get through all of it. However, we've now got a safe area of our MFA file that we can start playing with it, and we can just build the application without that going across with it. And I think a lot of people that I've talked to in the past do the level editor as a separate MFA file because they don't want that confusion of having to delete it every time they release it and then like save it with it on, go back to that saved file to edit the game and update it, and then delete that frame again, etc., etc. So we've just increased our workflow significantly here and allowed us to have parts of our MFA file that are just for us, and parts of them obviously that are for the end user, so the people who want to play our games. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please click like. If you really enjoyed it, please click subscribe and keep the comments coming in, because there's an idea of another tutorial that have come out from someone who's written a comment and created some assets for that comment. So I'm looking forward to doing that in the future. Thank you very much.